There is a conversation happening right now inside your head. Words, images, judgments, an endless stream of mental chatter that never seems to stop. And perhaps, in the quiet moments between sleep and waking, you've wondered, what would happen if it did? This constant internal dialogue has become so familiar, so automatic, that we mistake it for living itself. But what if this very thinking, this relentless commentary on life, is actually preventing us from experiencing it? Alan Watts, the philosopher who bridged Eastern wisdom and Western understanding, offered us a profound insight. If you talk all the time, you'll never hear what anybody else has to say. The same is true for people who think all the time. Pause for a moment. Notice the voice in your head right now. The one commenting on these words. The one perhaps agreeing, disagreeing, or wandering to your to-do list. This is the voice Watts spoke of. The sub-vocal conversation. The chit-chat of symbols and images that fills our inner space. But here lies the paradox. When we think constantly, we find ourselves with nothing to think about except thinking itself. We become trapped in an echo chamber of our own making, where thoughts circle endlessly, feeding on themselves, growing louder but saying less. Imagine a still lake at dawn, when the surface is disturbed by constant ripples. Our thoughts, our mental commentary, we cannot see the depths below. We see only the distorted reflections of our own making. But when the surface becomes still, the ancient Taoist sage Lao Tzu understood this deeply when he said, "The 5 colors make a man blind. The 5 tones make a man deaf." At first, this seems contradictory. How can seeing colors make us blind? How can hearing tones make us deaf? The answer lies in the difference between experiencing and labeling. When we encounter a leaf, immediately the mind says, "That's green. That's a leaf shape. That's nature." But no leaf is simply green. Look closely, without naming, and you'll see countless shades, subtle variations, play of light and shadow that no single word can capture. The moment we name something, we stop seeing it. We see only our concept of it. We hear only our category of it. The infinite richness of reality becomes flattened into familiar boxes. This is why the most ordinary moments can suddenly become extraordinary when the mind falls quiet. The texture of shadows on the floor, the sound of rain against glass, the warmth of sunlight on skin. Without the mental narrator telling us what these things are, we encounter them fresh, as if for the first time. Let me guide you into this silence for just a moment. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable. Don't try to stop thinking. That's just another thought. Simply notice whatever sounds are present right now, not labeling them as traffic or voices or music. Just sound itself. Notice any physical sensations. Not "my back hurts" or "I'm comfortable." Just the raw data of sensation before the story about it begins. Notice this moment of awareness itself, the space in which all these experiences are appearing, this witnessing presence that is always here, always now, even when the mind is busy elsewhere. Rest here for just 10 seconds more, in this space before language, before judgment, before the need to understand or analyze. Open your eyes when you're ready. What you just experienced, however briefly, is what Watts called immediate contact with the unspeakable world. Not unspeakable because it's mystical, or otherworldly, but because it exists prior to language, prior to the mind's attempt to capture it in words. This silence isn't an escape from life. It's a return to life itself. When we live constantly in our mental commentary about reality, we miss reality entirely. We're like someone watching a movie of a sunset instead of looking at the actual sky. In our modern world, this practice becomes even more crucial. We're surrounded by notifications, updates, information streams that keep the mind perpetually active. We've forgotten that the mind, like the body, needs rest. We've forgotten that beneath the stream of thoughts lies something vast and quiet and deeply nourishing. But here's what's beautiful. This silence is always available, not as something you need to achieve or attain, but as something you already are. The awareness reading these words right now, that's it. The space in which your thoughts appear and disappear, that's it. You might notice, as you begin to practice this, that the mind rebels. It will tell you this is pointless or dangerous, or that you have too many important things to think about. This is natural. The mind is doing its job. Thinking is what it does. But you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that observes them. When you brush your teeth tomorrow morning, try doing it without the mental commentary, just the sensation of bristles, the taste of mint, the motion of your hand. When you walk to your car, feel your feet against the ground without the story about where you're going or what you need to remember. These small moments of presence might seem insignificant, but they're revolutionary. They return you to direct experience, to the aliveness that exists before we think about it. Scientific research has begun to validate what contemplatives have known for millennia. Studies show that when the default mode network of the brain, the part responsible for self-referential thinking, quiets down, people report greater well-being, enhanced creativity, and a profound sense of connection to life itself. But beyond any scientific validation, you can verify this for yourself. Notice how different you feel when lost in worried thoughts versus when fully present with a simple task. Notice the quality of aliveness that emerges when you're not thinking about your life, but actually living it. This doesn't mean we should never think. Thinking is a powerful tool, but like any tool, it works best when we pick it up intentionally and put it down when the task is complete. The problem isn't thinking, it's compulsive thinking, the inability to turn off the mental radio. As Watts suggested, this liberation requires what he called a basic framework of order and discipline. Not rigid rules, but a gentle commitment to moments of silence. 5 minutes in the morning before checking your phone. A few conscious breaths before meals. A walk without podcasts or music. These aren't spiritual practices in some mystical sense. They're acts of sanity in an increasingly chaotic world. They're a return to the natural rhythm of activity and rest that exists in all of nature. The birds don't narrate their flight. The trees don't comment on their growth. The ocean doesn't think about being wet. They simply are, fully and completely in each moment. And so can you. What aspect of your daily experience would change if you approached it with less thinking and more direct awareness? What might you discover in the spaces between your thoughts? Alan Watts left us with this profound reminder. The moment you stop thinking, you come into immediate contact with the unspeakable world. This unspeakable world isn't somewhere else. It's right here, right now, underneath the stream of mental commentary. It's the world of your actual senses, your actual experience, your actual life, not the story about your life, but life itself, unfiltered and immediate. In this very moment, as these words fade into silence, that world is waiting, not demanding anything from you, not asking you to become anything other than what you already are, simply inviting you to notice what has always been here, the silence beyond thought, the awareness before words, the profound aliveness that exists in the space between one breath and the next. Rest here, if only for a moment. Let the commentary fade, let the naming cease, and discover what remains when the mind finally becomes still. This is your invitation to awaken within, not to some distant enlightenment, but to the extraordinary ordinariness of this moment, exactly as it is. Take a breath, close your eyes, and listen to what the silence has to say. If this moment of silence has touched something within you, if you feel drawn to explore more deeply the pathways to presence and awakening, we invite you to continue this journey with us. Here on Lumira, Awaken Within, we gather regularly to explore these timeless teachings, to sit together in the silence between thoughts, and to discover what the great contemplatives and modern wisdom keepers have learned about the art of truly living. Each video is an invitation to pause, to breathe, to remember what you already know but may have forgotten in the noise of daily life. Let this be not another addition to your mental stimulation, but a regular return to the stillness that is always here, always available, always welcoming you home.